basically going to talk about the electric part, since that's where most people are having issues. Your lights are gonna, installation is gonna depend on your vehicle. These are usually pretty straightforward. You just go to your bumper and there's only one way you can put them in. The left and right lights go in, and let's assume that these are mounted, and we're gonna move to the electrical part. Okay. When you open up your kit, again, you're gonna have the green plug with this harness right here. This is gonna be your switch. I'm gonna pull the main harness and the relay. Okay. The first thing you want to do is to find the blank spot on your dash. That's where you're gonna mount this switch. Okay. Don't mount it yet, but just find the spot. Make sure it fits. Now I'm gonna show you how to connect your switch harness. I'm gonna take it apart. It's pretty straightforward. We're gonna ground this to any part of the vehicle inside that's metal or any source of solid ground. You have this red wire, which is gonna supply power to the relay, which is this guy right here. So you're gonna connect this to any 12-volt accessory wire inside your car. It could be your positive side of your cigarette lighter, or it can be any wire that has ignition on the main harness. Okay. Usually you can go to Google and type in your model and year, and you'll find a bunch of car stereo websites or alarm sites that will tell you what the accessory wire is under their main harness of the steering column. And that's where you're gonna tap this. As long as this gets power while the car is running, and it loses power when the car is off, then you'll be okay. This is the one wire that you have to run through the firewall. Usually right above the steering column there'll be what they call the main harness through the firewall. Usually those have a rubber boot. You can actually take an X-Acto knife and just cut a little piece and slide this through. I find out that if you actually use a very long wire tie, you can use it as a fish. You can go to like Home Depot or Walmart and buy a pretty long wire tie and use this to actually pull it through the firewall. You can tie your other side of the cable right here with tape and pull it in the hood side, and then this will come out with no problem. It seems like most people are afraid of this step, but it's actually pretty simple if you have the right parts to do it. So let's assume we connected this to ground already. This is connected to the ignition, and we have this under the hood. We're going to move to the main harness. Here's your main harness. Okay. You're going to have positive or source for the power, ground right here, and your two cables that are going to go for the lights. So this is going to go to the driver and passenger side bolts. This is going to go, usually there's a spot on your fuse box where you can actually undo like a 10mm bolt and tie this on, and this is going to get you the power source. Excuse me. And this is going to be your ground source for the fog lamps. So you're going to connect this to power, this to ground. Now you can actually plug in your harness right here. Excuse me. And this is going to be your final connection. Once you do that, you go back to the cabin, push this through the blank spot, connect this right here, turn your ignition on, and test your lights. If everything works fine, you can go ahead and push this into the blank spot. You're going to mount this to any bolt inside your hood, or you can actually use one of the supply wire ties to tie it into a main harness, okay, and use the wire ties to continue to securely tie the wires for the fog lamps. After that, everything should be done. Now I'm going to show you real quick how to disconnect your fog lamps while your high beams are on. Some of the vehicles, or some of the states actually require for your low beams to shut off when your high beams are on, and also your fog lamps. So what you do, you go to the main harness, okay? There's going to be two blue wires, a white wire, a red wire, and three black wires together, okay? You want to cut this wire tie right here so you can easily work with this. Okay. Okay. We're gonna separate this, guys. You want to cut these two wires that are together on the actual loom along with the blue wires. You want to cut these two. Okay. You're gonna put a ring terminal and you're gonna ground these two wires. That's gonna supply ground for this loom that goes to your actual plugs for the fog lamps. So your power is gonna go out of the relay to the fog lamps, and then ground is gonna go from the ground to the fog lamps. And you're gonna have one black wire left, which is this one. Okay. What you're gonna do, you're gonna connect this black wire. After you cut it from here, you're gonna connect it to the positive side of your high beam bulb. Okay, so go to your high beams, turn it on, see which one is the positive side, and connect this wire to the high beam positive side. What that's gonna do is that when you turn your high beams on, this wire is gonna see power and it's gonna shut off your relay. Your relay is gonna shut off because it's not gonna have ground here. And when you shut off your high beams, okay, that positive side of the bulb of the high beams is gonna see ground again. So this cable is gonna see ground, and you're gonna see how the relay closes again and allows your fog lamps to work. It is very important that you don't mess this step up. Again, there's 3 black cables into the harness or the actual relay. You want to disconnect the 2 that go to the relay, put a ring terminal here, and ground them. You can also just cut this wire right here, put a butt connector here on the end that has the trim ring, and another butt connector on the side that goes towards the fog lamps bulbs, and leaving you only a pigtail of ground going into the relay, and that's the one we're going to connect to the actual positive side of your high beams. Here's your fuse, just in case you pop something, connect something wrong, you can change it. This is a 25 amp fuse, and we recommend always use for 25 amp fuse. Other than that, you should be good to go. Thanks for watching.